Hello and welcome to Restore 2023, an opportunity for us to be reading, to be growing, to be living for God. In yesterday's chapters, we looked at the first set of the dialogue between Job and Eliphaz. Today's chapters, especially chapter 7, is agonizing to read because Job is consumed with anger and he's tormented by painful suffering, and yet that he identifies himself with the hired laborers and servants from whom life can be really extremely hard. Here's one of those low moments where he talks intensively to himself and opens his heart. He does not try to maintain a false stoic appearance, suck it up and say I'm tough approach to life. I think he's making himself here vulnerable to his mates so that they can understand him and help him. But unfortunately, his friend's theology lacks compassion and comfort. Job does not keep his feelings to himself or content himself by talking to other people. Rather, he takes this full force, this whole pain to God. And in contrast to Job's passionate speech of chapter 6 and 7, Bildad's first speech in chapter 8 actually is calm and analytical, with an almost unfeeling tone as Bildad brings out his lecture notes that he has used elsewhere before, and he begins his spiel. No affirmation. Bildad is dismissive, and he's not having any of Job's nonsense speech. Job's words for him are just a strong gust of winds. One of the commentators puts it like this: Bildad intensifies the retribution principle that Eliphaz stated into a rigid formula of double retribution, in which God always prospers the righteous and always destroys the wicked. Bildad uses logic, tradition, analogies from nature to argue his position, and he refuses to consider evidence that contradicts his formula of how God maintains justice in the world. As if God needs someone to defend him, and of all people, it's only Bildad that can do that. And he does that by referring to the past. He repeats the formula that righteousness and prosperity, sin and suffering are in a mechanical cause and effect relationship. And again, as I said, he's used analogies from nature. He's used things that probably make sense for the normal daily life routines. But he's also repeating Eliphaz's advice. All Job needs to do is confess his sin, submit to God, and wait patiently for his reward. Another commentator suggests that by doing this, Bildad leaves no room for God to work outside the standard pattern that they've created, thus making divine action thoroughly predictable and automatic. Now, the book of Job, however, will go on to demonstrate that God is mysterious, and the way that he works, the way that he deals with humanity is mysterious. And retribution principle, though valid in general, must not be pressed on into an inflexible formula for how God must act in every case.